Hello everybody, my name is Hongda. Today I'm going to demonstrate my implementation for the Affordable, specifically in solving the email verification problem. Previously, the email verification is not saved correctly in the local MySQL database, and also user could log in with email not verified but verified later. First, in the AWS Cognito, as you can see here, I create two new users with both email and account not confirmed. For this user, you can see here in the user attributes, there's no user ID, which means the user is a new user, comparing to this user with user ID. So what we are going to do is first we need to verify the account, which at this point when your account is verified, both account and email will be verified for this user, as you can see here in the AWS Cognito. For this user, the account and email is verified. However, it still does not have a user ID, which means it's still a new user. So what we are going to do here is we are going to log in with this user. So when a user logs in, the user will be saved in the local MySQL database, and the AWS Cognito will be updated. As you can see here, I retrieved the Cognito user. For this user, you can see for the Cognito user attributes, the email verified currently is true. And also, the user attributes here, you can see the user ID exists. This means that the user is saved in a local MySQL database, as you can see here. And also, the user in the AWS Cognito is updated. So what is behind all this is in the code base. So first, we'll go through on login. In this part, we are trying to retrieve the Cognito user from the AWS Cognito, and we're trying to use it to retrieve the user info. In the retrieve user info, we first find the user attributes from the AWS Cognito, and also, since the user is a new user, it does not include a user ID, which we are handling create new user here. For creating new user, we are packing the user info and send the user info to the Affordable client. The Affordable client is responsible for encrypting the user info into JWT authorization token. As you can see, something like this, and it will be decoded to payload, header, and some other things. Since the data might contain sensitive information, and also the client is responsible for making HTTP requests to the backend. Here, we are doing a POST request to the backend user route. So the backend side, before the user controller could receive the request, it will first go through a routing level authentication middleware. As you can see here, first, we are going through the verify request in the authentication middleware, which tries to decode the JWT token into payload and trying to find the user ID from this payload. So using user ID, we are trying to find the user from the local MySQL database. At this point, we are dealing with new user, so we cannot find it. We just go to the next method. So what we are going to next is we are going to try to verify the new user request, as we also decode the JWT token and trying to find the username from it. And we're also trying to use this username to find the user from the local MySQL database. However, if the user is not existed, we're going to catch. In this case, the request username matched the username we decoded. So we are going to the next method, since in the backend, we are passing the error, not throwing the error. In this case, we are going to the user controller to create a user. The user controller will use the DAO method to create a user in the user info DBO using the type ORM connection to the local MySQL database. As you can see here, this is the user DBO looks like. And also we are calling the DAO methods to create this user info in the user info DBO through connections using type ORM. So at this point, we are saying that the user is stored in a local MySQL database with email verified. And also, the controller will receive the updated user info and send it back as a response to the front end. The front end will receive the updated user info and update the remote AWS Cognito with this new user attributes, which contains the user ID. So at this point, we are saying that the user account and email is both verified in local MySQL database and remotely in AWS Cognito. So this is the first situation. There's another situation we are going to deal in here. So there's also a situation for the user to with like their account and email verified, but however, they switch their email later, which makes their email not verified. For this user I created, I could manually confirm this account. And you can see here, when the account is manually confirmed, the email is not confirmed. However, I could still log in with this user. Previously, before the email verification problem is fixed, the user will be stored in the local MySQL database with email is still verified. This is not what we wanted. However, after I fix it, you can see when I log in. You can see this banner that says you need to confirm your email, which means in a local MySQL database, for this user, the email is not verified. This is what we want. And also, now we are going to try to see if we update the user. Let's say the user verified their email later. So previously, this case is not handled. So when this user later verified their email, you can see here currently in the local MySQL database, the email is still not verified. So we need a way to update the local MySQL database. So in the code base, since we are dealing with the existing user, then in the retrieve user info, we are going to getting the user from the backend here. And also what we are going to do here is trying to compare the user in a local database and the user we retrieve from the Cognito to see if their email verified is same or different. If they are different, then we use the client to do another request to the backend to update the user info. As you can see here, when I log in again, we don't see the banner here. This means that in the local MySQL database, the data is being updated. Now you can see here for this user, the email is verified now. This is exactly what we want. So what caused this happen is that previously, the code in the backend that used to handle the updation for the user is incorrect. So I fixed all the code that use the type ORM to create and update user in the backend in the local MySQL database, and this problem is solved. So right now, all the problem related to email verification is solved. So I have some simple diagrams that shows how I implement it. I'm not going to show it here. So if you are interested, you could take a look of all this stuff. This contains all the implementation details I made in this implementation. Thanks for watching.